What's up, everybody? Johnny Mason, a place. I'm here with one of my best friends and mentor, Mr. Patrick Bet-David. We're in Cancun right now for a PHP Agency company trip. Just got eaten up by mosquitoes for the last hour. But had a ton of fun last couple of days, breakdancing. Inside joke on that one. But listen, I wanted you guys to talk to Patrick here. And by the way, if you haven't seen Entrepreneur Magazine of this past month, I'm very excited. This is awesome. Just right now, Valuetainment. Patrick's the founder and CEO of PHP Agency, but also founder of Valuetainment. It's centered right there in the middle. That's Pat. And it's kind of cool where things have come, where we all started from, to where the Valuetainment is, where PHP is today, and what's going on. And the question is, where the economy is today, where people are today, with people going to school. You know, master's degrees aren't even getting people jobs anymore. Companies realize that they can pay people less to do the same amount or more work. When somebody says, "Oh, I got a raise at work," it's more, "I got a promotion at work." They don't make more money. They just got a different title.
Yep.
When it comes to being the underdog, my question to you is this: in your opinion, what does it mean to be an underdog? That's the question. What does it mean to you to be the underdog? Because you're the ultimate underdog.
So, what does it mean to be an underdog? I mean, first of all, it makes for a better story, but what it means to be an underdog is you being somebody that literally no one expected to win, or no one expected to come out atop. I think about sports teams, you think about Florida Marlins, I think about the year Miami won when Dwayne Wade won the championship with Miami and he had nobody else. I think the second highest scorer was Antoine Walker, and Shaq wasn't in the best of conditions at that time. I think about businesses that no one expects to win and they come out of nowhere. For instance, Walmart in 1962 and a half was the super savings center year. So Walmart, Kmart, Target all got started in 1962 and a half.
Interesting.
All of them. And one of the things they have in common is Kmart was funded heavily up front. Massive. Kmart was funded heavily up front. So fast forward 5 years later after Kmart gets started, okay? So 5 years later after Kmart gets started, Kmart has 250 stores. 5 years later. You wanna know how many Walmart had 5 years later? 9 stores, okay? So 9 stores to 250 stores. Well, Kmart got big funding, they got a bunch of money for them, and Walmart was just Sam Walton running the business himself. And so at that point, everybody's looking at saying, who's a Sam Walton guy? No one's expecting Sam Walton and a guy who owned a Franklin store, like one of those stores that you would buy back in the days and everything was cheaper, like a 99-cent store. He owned the Franklin store. And then you fast forward after 1967 to today, which is what, 50 years later, Kmart was bankrupt. There is no more Kmart. And Walmart employs 2.3 million people around the world, 1.6 million in America, 700,000 jobs outside of America. His poorest kid, he has 4 kids. His poorest kid is worth $39.7 billion.
It's not that much.
$39.7 billion, and he's dead. But his legacy lives on. When you read his story, Made in America, it's an underdog story. And I think, you know, honestly, the movies we like to watch is the underdog story. No one likes to watch a movie of the guy that had the upper hand and he won. I mean, who cares? Everybody knows you're going to win, you know? No one follows that story. People want to hear the story of an underdog. I was a 1.8 GPA kid in high school. I never once in my life have played organized sports. I was never in organized swimming. I never played t-ball. I never played organized baseball, organized basketball, organized football. I was never in a soccer league. I was never in a track league. I was never in a chess. I've never played anything organized in my entire life. I've never played. My mother couldn't afford to pay a membership to YMCA, $16.50 a month. So I was that guy. So I got out of high school and I went straight to the Army. I thought this was what I was going to do in the Army. And then I get out because one of my friends believed that I can have a better life getting out of the Army. And so I get out and I get into business and I start dreaming, and then I get a taste of it. I said, wait a minute, I just made 10 grand this month. And I made, you know, 10 grand in a week, May 29th of 2004. And then that was the last time my dad ever paid for dinner and going out. And I made 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600,000 in a month. And I said, wait a minute, this is crazy. This life is actually possible. And then at that point, you just start asking yourself, what's next? What's possible? And so I think Underdog is somebody that no one expects you to win, and you come out and shock everybody.
Why do some people, they get stuck at that 80, 90,000? Like they get so content, they get so comfortable, like I've made it.
Yeah.
You know, or is it, I'm making more money than anyone's ever made in my family before? Or is it their identity? Is it their environment? If you can give a piece of advice to that guy that's making the 95, 100,000, 110, because if you're in sales, you're making 120 a year. I don't care where you are.
Sure.
You're in sales. But why do some people get stuck at that 120 and they can't get to the 425, 20 million plus?
Because it's more than their cousin. Because it's more than the sibling. Because they beat the people that they wanted to beat and outdo. You know, because they got a decent life. They're comfortable. You know, they're eating at decent restaurants every week. Every Friday night they're having sushi. And I'm not talking about California roll sushi. I'm talking about like sushi. You know, they're going to a nice steakhouse. They're not going to a Cheesecake Factory. They're going to a nice steakhouse, Roy's or, you know, Ruth Chris or some of these Capital Grille type of names. And, you know, status. And so remember, people are driven by 4 different things. Number 1 is survival, which means I got to figure out a way to pay my bills. Number 2 is status. And status is I'm making more money than my cousin, I'm making more money than my friend, I'm making more money than such and such person, I'm making more money than my dad, more money than my mom. Then it's freedom, level 3, which is making money to the point where you have millions set aside where you're free to do what you want to do. And the last level is purpose. Purpose is no longer about money. You have the money and you have taken it to another level. I read a book called 41. It was a story about Bush writing about his father. And in their family, his grandfather was a governor. So George Bush Sr.'s father was a governor. And one of the things they committed in their families was, there's 2 things we do. 1, you got to give back to the country, public service, because America provides such a great platform. But before you go out there and go join public service and give back to the community, you got to first set your family up financially. Your kids' college education, your wife's retirement, your retirement, all of that, which means a few $1 million, then go to public service, right? And that's purpose. And so I think most people are at level 2, which is status, and they're pretty happy with it. Unfortunately, the majority is at survival. The majority is at survival. 15% is at status, 5% is at freedom, and 1% is at purpose. Yeah.
Got it. Well, folks, there you have it. You've heard from one of the best in the business, in my opinion, the best mentor anybody can have, the ultimate underdog, building up PHP Agency into $100+ million, on our way to $1 billion+ and several $1 billion, up to $100 billion company. And look, we're looking to meet that underdog. If you feel you're that underdog, you want to have that conversation, you want to have that shot, reach out to me on private message me, but also follow Valuetainment, follow Patrick on Valuetainment on Snapchat, Instagram. What's your handle with Instagram or Snapchat?
Everything is Patrick Bet-David. Snap is Bet-David19. But everything else is just Patrick Bet-David.
Very simple, guys. With that being said, have a rocking week. And if you're that underdog, we want to hear from you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.